Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and today we will be taking an extra special look at a Lightning Faith caster. We got 80 points of faith, really 78, 2 plus the hat, and I must say I was rather pleased with the effectiveness of this particular build. I liked being able to endure into Fortisax's Lightning Spear and be able to wipe out those players who thought they could face tank it. The other two crucial spells to this build were Honed Bolt and Lightning Spear. Honed Bolt because you can chain it and it does good chunks of damage, has a little bit of startup. Because we're playing at meta level, we can't really afford to put points into dexterity, so we're relying on that Radigan icon to get us just a little extra casting speed, though we're nowhere near the cap. I wanted to take a little moment and harp on Lightning Spear. I like Lightning Spear, it's been a mainstay of the Souls series for quite some time, and I kind of was saddened by how hard it was to hit other players with it. That's just a natural consequence. You see people charging it, it looks very visually distinct, and then they get to see the projectile coming at them. Lots of room to dodge it, understandable. But it is kind of fast. Not too fast that if they're neutral they can't dodge it, but it's fast enough that if you think somebody's about to heal and you start your lightning spear at the same time that they're healing, you will more often than not catch them with the lightning spear. That is the exact reason why I have this clip here before you, so you could see exactly the power of the lightning spear. And this fella's setup was kind of interesting. Using Sleep Sword, hit you with a lightning pot as soon as you're slept in a waterlogged area. Soon it will prove to be his downfall, because I realize he's going to be aggressive, he's going to be in my face. Let's just give him a taste of the old twin swords, which can outtrade so many things in terms of damage. And then Lightning Spear. Oh, you going for a heal? Lightning Spear. Are you going to heal again? Oh well. Now we've reset to neutral, we can heal up, and he lost a lot of healing in that, and then we can hit him with a couple Honed Bolts. Big damage. You can kind of stagger Honed Bolt if you think you might be able to catch people off guard. Be wary of people's latency. If their latency is high enough, they'll just dodge all of it. But we're able to switch to the twin swords every time he gets in too close, and then harass him with his spells when he gets just out of range. And I really like the combination of Lightning Spear and or Honed Bolt. And I must say, if there's something that this build was lacking, at least in the spell department, it was something close range and fast. I wish there was something like Catch Flame or like Carrion Slicer, but of the lightning flavor. There isn't. Maybe the DLC will bring something, probably not. But it is still something my heart yearns for nonetheless. I don't even know what form it would take. It couldn't be an electric cloud, it'd look too much like Catch Flame. And you can't really do a little lightning slash, then it would look like Carrion Slicer. Maybe a little lightning jab? I don't know. But that's simply the realm of fantasy. Let's ground ourselves for a moment in some shocking results. I love Honed Bolt. It just hits so hard. You can chain it, you can really ruin people's day. It took me a moment to realize that that Phantom Head drank his physic that made him take elemental damage as healing. And the Phantom deals with him summarily. He does such a good job. I felt like the second-class support character in terms of this invasion. That other red was really the MVP. He comes in, shows him what for, and I'm there just to pick up the tab at the end. Oh my goodness. If you ever thought it was scary while invading, having to deal with a 3-man gank squad and somebody's got a lot of lightning or a lot of sorcery spam, my goodness, having red 2v2s, invasion 2v2s, where I have lightning to clean up every time one of the opposing team is not paying attention to me, oh my goodness, the free damage is insane. And they start to focus you. They start to realize how much of a threat you are very easily. The extra range, the damage, this poor guy doing a Lion's Claw into a Fortisax Lightning Spear, just immediately melting him. I had so much fun with this build. But there are shortcomings, of course, and I should talk about them a little bit. The next little clip is going to be a little bit longer, but it was a war with many daring and narrow escapes, so I thought I would include it nonetheless to kind of show off what you have a problem with, at least in my variation of this build. For one, if people are thinking on their feet even just a smidge, it can be hard to bait them into the Fortisax Lightning Spear, so it's going to be very hard to hit them with that specific spell, that incantation. It just takes a lot of startup, and if they see it coming and they're not, like, you know, experiencing some sort of homicidal tunnel vision, they'll probably just get out of the way. And then if they're a little bit latent, like this group was, they were in the 160, 170 ping kind of bracket, then it'll be very hard to hit them with a lightning spear unless you can somehow time the start of their heal with the start of your spell. Then you'll hit, but if they have two friends, they're probably going to have that sort of backup. Honed Bolt, same issue. Very hard to hit them with. You really got to look for those opportunities where they aren't rolling and they really have that kill you tunnel vision. Like right here, this poor guy, he gets in my elevator. Horrible time to come after me. Absolutely abysmal time. But that's what these long, just drawn-out warlike invasions are really for. It's finding those 1v1 moments where you can turn a 3v1 into a 2v1. Suddenly infinitely more manageable. We get a sneak attack with that lightning bolt, and it hits for 800 plus damage, and that is some tasty damage right there, I must say. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. And I get a little too I'm stupid right here, and I shouldn't have endured. I should have just left, but I escaped with just a smidge of HP, and now we've turned it into a one-on-one. But that's not the end. Oh no. Not at all. This fellow's gonna bring in friends. And I don't know why he's pointing down the hole or what he wants with it, but I want you to pay attention to that hole because it is our means of escape. I love how we're just trapped here and then we run forward through the hole and then the hole closes up, giving us an extra moment to prepare ourselves for the perils that are ahead. So now he's got a blue. He's still fighting. He's still kicking. I can't seem to get a hit on him or any notable hits on him. He's just latent enough. And he's deadly. He's got that Falling Star Beast Jaw, so he can kind of honed bolt me back in a sense if he really wants to. And he's got Carrion Slicer in the offhand, so he's got a light fast option that does great damage, and then he's got a ranged option that can stumble and also do great damage. He's got everything going for him, really. It's a pretty strong setup. I wonder what his stat spread looks like, because that's quite a bit of strength and quite a bit of int to make those things effective. Every time I've run a Falling Star Beast Jaw, it's been just on a build that has a good amount of strength and then just enough int. Just enough int. And I don't know what's going on here, but we have two blues. We're trying to escape, and somehow that blue just evaporates. He takes 1900 damage. I don't know if he ran in the fire jets or something, and the damage was just that latent, or he was experiencing that bad of packet loss. It's surely beyond me. But back to the natural cons of this build. If they're thinking on their feet and they are really good at dodging everything, even though you can deal big damage when you hit, you might expect to miss quite a bit. And because I really hyper-focused this build, we have, you know, the virtual 80 points of faith. We have enough endurance to have 103 poise. We can use the twin granite seal talismans as well as the twin coated swords. That's our upper limit in terms of weight. I did have a lighter armor set I could have swapped to if I wanted to freely swap to other weapons that were a tad heavier, but we can't wield a whole lot of variety of those weapons. We have like, it's like 11 and 10 dex and strength. I forget which is which, but not a lot. Not a lot of stat requirements. You get like the Slender Noble's S-Talk for your little bit of poke variety, and that's about it. And those weapons aren't, the weapons that are Sacred Infused, they're not benefiting so much from 80 faith. It's a handful of wasted points. When you have that much faith, more than 60 really, it's mostly for casting. And that's where the strong suit is. That's one of the reasons why I opted for the Coated Sword, because the Coated Sword has really good scaling, and it gets a little more oomph. Pure holy damage is pretty good. Pure damage type of anything of when you're casting on a weapon is, or casting and using a weapon is pretty darn good. But look at that early roll into Unblockable Blade. There we go. We've dealt with two Phantoms, two Blues, though I guess one was a free gimme, and now we have the host in a corner. And that comes to my biggest con for the build. It's the chase of the final guy. It's hard to get that last guy, the one guy who's a little bit latent and is intent on running. He gets a slick backstab, good on him. It won't be enough, though. And I found in a handful of other invasions that I didn't bother to include the footage of, that if one guy had some latency and was bound and determined to just flee and be evasive, it was very hard to capitalize and get some damage. Oh, look at that charged lightning spear. Almost 1,000 damage. Oh man, when you do hit, it's great. It's just getting those hits. But there was one invasion I had. It went on for like 16 minutes and 40 seconds of combat. It was nuts. Just a guy and his phantom, me, and then eventually another red joined up. And it's just, we killed the phantom. Then the phantom gets resummoned. Killed the phantom again. Phantom gets resummoned. Eventually get it down to just the host and us two chasing him down, and he can just flee for ages. Latent enough that everything can just be double rolled. And I don't have a poison option on this build. That's kind of what I was eventually working up to. I don't have a poison option. Not a good one anyways. You can use the Venomous Fang. You could use some poison grease, you know. And the poison build-up's okay. It's pretty quick, but it's a short-range claw weapon. It doesn't have the thrusting running attack. It has the swiping one. And so it's just like you don't really have a poison option, and even if you do poison them, your regular hits don't do a lot. And it's really hard to follow up after you would get somebody poisoned. It's not a Godskin Stitcher with poison on it. It's not, you know, an Ant Spur Rapier with Rot Grease. You can't put 2 poisons on somebody relatively quickly. You're just stuck with your lightning. So it's definitely a specialist build. I'd say a strong build, though I wouldn't say in the best bracket. Not S tier, but for me, it was A tier in terms of enjoyment. I had so much fun. And I liked fighting this guy here. This host here, he's like my doppelganger, the evil one. But we get the Lanciax Glaive, takes out the Phantom, and my goodness, now it's just 2 lightning boys going head to head. And I have Protection of the Erd Tree now, which gives me a lot of extra resistances. It's spread out amongst the 4 elements, but still noteworthy. See how much damage I do to him? About 560. See how much he's hitting me back for? Ooh, a pittance compared to probably what he's used to. And because we're, you know, just dying for extra spell slots of any kind, we kind of just get the one all-elemental resist get kind of spell as opposed to opting for each unique resistance spell. You see this lightning spear? Oh my goodness, I love how fast it is. It's really a whiff punish. You gotta look for when people are trapped in an animation, and that's where you'll have the most success, whether they be healing, whether they be priming a spell that takes longer. Hopefully a spell that takes longer and doesn't have any sort of hyper armor is your best bet, because you can knock them out of stuff with relative ease. And I really like Lightning Spear now. I didn't think I would like it. I know there's spells that can combo into it when you get that really high casting speed, and there's lots of synergies it can have, but even on its own, it's not too bad an option. I mostly like it for heal punishes. Those are the fun ones. And look at this Death Lightning. Oh man, I finally get it off, and it's on some poor soul who has 400 HP, not even showing how much damage that thing can deal out, really. It's kind of a shame. But maybe another video I'll show off how good the Death Lightning is. In terms of damage, it's kind of hard to set up. It's not as easy as the Fortisax Lightning Stakes that you plunge into the ground, because that spell on its own feels like it has some kind of armor going on where you're hard to stumble out of it. And so it's really easy to counter-hit people who are foolish enough to linger close by. You know, now that I think about it, I think this is one of my few pure caster meta-level builds I've done that, like, has a theme, has an identity. I know I did those speed or chain casting videos a little bit ago, but this is like the first time I think I've done it at meta level. I know I've had pure pyromancers at around level 80, or yeah, 80, 81 or something like that. But I think this is the first time I've done somebody at meta level that's a caster with a definite identity. Definitely going on a lightning binge of sorts. And I like it quite a bit. I know I've told you that all in all, but look at this guy using Iron Jar Aromatic, and the Lightning Bolt hits him for 825. I know Iron Jar Aromatic gives you a good amount of poise and gives you a fair amount of resistances, but does it make you more vulnerable to lightning? I mean, you do have that sort of metal sheen to you, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Feels bad though, 825 seemed a little high, especially for somebody wearing mage gear. I think they'd have a little more elemental resistance. I took a moment to look it up, actually. Normally I just leave myself to wild BS postulates, but I looked up the Iron Jar Aromatic, and at least according to the wiki I found, your lightning damage negation goes down by 60% when you use the Iron Jar Aromatic. Oh my goodness. So if you ever see somebody using an Iron Jar Aromatic, maybe you should have something lightning flavored in your back pocket. Oh, you could punish those people. That's a lot of negative resistance. Oh my goodness, you get like 40% physical damage negation. I don't see anything about any other elements. Oh, that was so mean. That poor wizard got melted. But look at this. We got some honed bolts, 2 for the host, an extra 1 for the phantom. We hit him with the Lanciax glaive, and this is the part I am actually kind of proud of, is we walk up on him, and we make the swap into Unbreakable Blade because he's got a great shield, and it takes him out. Oh, that was such a quick, clean little vid. I like that. I like those little moments. I'm bad at swapping and immediately using the Ash of War. I need to practice it. That's a skill issue on my part. But when I do it, and it works, it's the coolest thing to me. I like it so very much. It's a tiny little skill expression. I guess I could pat myself on the back for being a novice at the swaps. But everybody starts somewhere, really. Also, who in their right mind would name themselves Shrek, give themselves neon green skin, and then be a wizard? The cosplay sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, it was a good thing that I got a taste of my own medicine, having to trade spells with 2 bona fide wizards. I mean, the projectile spam, it's what I rightfully deserve. And I'd probably take a little too long trying to figure out my plan of attack here. But if people are casting spells like that, or projectiles, and you think your lightning spear is fast enough, it may well be. Especially if you have extra casting speed, more than I do. Because you can just get in quick little punishes. They're standing in place. You gotta worry about when they're using, like, oh, what are they called? The little glintstone stars or glintstone... Oh, wait, no, just star shower. The 3-bolt and the 6-bolt. Because they can move a little bit while casting that, that little bit of side strafe can be enough for them to dodge lightning spears. So you gotta really look for the ones where they're locked in place. Even the little strafes can be enough to dodge lightning spears, so something to be aware of. But still, it's so nice to get those counter hits, and when the counter hits are that big, that's almost a whole health flask every time you hit them. And so if you deplete the Phantom's health, well, 2.5 times, he's probably gonna be out of healing. What kind of Phantom has more than 5 heals? They might have 6, sure, but if they're doing any sort of casting, they probably have 5 or fewer of those tasty crimson red flasks. Meanwhile, counting the amount of flasks a host has is just a futile effort. They have too many. Don't worry about it. Phantoms, on the other hand, I can count to 6. I can keep track of 6 heals. Speaking of which, this Phantom needs a far better cosplay. Doesn't evoke Lord Farquaad in the least bit. Maybe he spent a lot of time on his face model, but I seriously doubt it. I would like for you, dear viewer, to take a moment and look at these tasty damage numbers. 730, and then we zap him with a roll catch. The spell roll caught him. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, 450 damage. Such good numbers. Man, lightning is a fantastic element. Why aren't you using lightning already? What are you going to do for your lightning build? Do you have a particular lightning setup that you like? Do you like the martial or the incantation side? Let me know in the comments. It's always neat to see other people's perspectives. But we're going to watch me do Fortisax's lightning spear. And then a second Fortisax's lightning spear. And you know what? The third Fortisax's lightning spear, that's the mix-up. That's high skill gaming right there. That's the mix-up. There's no way he could have known. Who would have been insane enough to go for a third Fortisax's lightning spear? Nobody. Nobody's that insane except me and my tiny brain. But that's the mix-up, and it worked better than it had any right to. And now we have the host. It's just me and him. At the close of this video, I send him up the elevator to give myself an extra moment to breathe. I'm trying to plan how I'm going to get up the elevator, and he surprises me from that stage left over there. I liked how aggressive this host was. Very good of him. He should have gotten me back, and he was going to do it, given enough time. But thankfully, we have twin swords. We're able to make him regret his life, and lightning spear, heal punish. Lightning spear, heal punish. Oh, goodness. It's so good. I can't rant about it enough. But, thankfully, I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes, so you will be spared my maniacal ravings. And I hope you had yourself a happy new year. It's 2024, and we have more content to come, so I hope you stay tuned. It's nice having you around for the journey. Bye-bye now.